believe the Carolina Panthers will go 7-10 this year. And that's better than last year. That's more wins, fewer losses. It's a year of progress, right? And the Carolina Panthers are slowly rebuilding their football team. And I'm here for it, man. I believe in the rebuild. I'm all in. It just takes time. It's a great John Bellion song. It just takes time. Like, I believe in what they're doing. I like their head coach, Matt Rule. I think their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, is great. He's the guy who, I say it every time I talk about Joe Brady. Joe Brady is the guy who turned Joe Burrow into a Heisman Trophy #1 overall pick when, before he met Joe Brady, before he worked with Joe Brady, Joe Burrow, no offense, was nobody. Was a guy who couldn't win the starting job at Ohio State, was going to be a 6th or 7th round pick if drafted at all. And Joe Burrow didn't just become popular and a star. He got way better. So I look at Joe Brady, and clearly the dude is able to help young quarterbacks develop. A lot of the credit goes to Joe Burrow. I don't want to take any credit away from him. He worked his tail off, right? He has a legendary work ethic. I love what Joe Burrow did. But it also shows, hey, Joe Brady has a history of helping young quarterbacks develop. And that is why I was so excited when they traded for young quarterback Sam Darnold, a guy who spent 3 years in New York with the Jets getting pummeled into oblivion. This is now an opportunity in Carolina for Sam Darnold to save his career. And I said it, like, actually, go back. It's pretty weird. I predicted this. I literally predicted Sam Darnold to go to Carolina. I'm like, this is the team that fits best for him. And we get to see it. I cannot wait for it to happen. I believe Sam Darnold is going to prove himself and become their long-term franchise quarterback. Is he going to win an NFL MVP? I don't know. I had a person write in on Patreon about that. It depends on how hard he works. It depends on what's around him. But I do believe that Sam Darnold is their guy. He will be the franchise quarterback in Carolina, and he'll get better as the year goes on. You will see it by week 10 or 11. He'll go, yep, Sam Darnold is our guy. We're happy with him. Let's move on. That's my prediction, I guess, for the season. 7-10, we can stand by. But my prediction for Carolina really is that Sam Darnold, their young quarterback, is going to be the guy everyone at the end of the year feels confident in and happy that they have. So there will be no buyer's remorse. That is my prediction. I do not think they're going to have to work hard to replace Sam Darnold. In fact, I think every Carolina Panthers fan is going to go, yeah, we got the right guy. That's how they're going to feel. Despite a 7-10 season, they'll go, at least we got the quarterback right. We're rebuilding. Things feel good. We're headed in the right direction. I don't really have a lot of bad things to say about this football team. Thomas Fletcher is a former high school teammate of mine. He is their long snapper. They drafted him in the 6th round. That never happens. But I did a video about that. Like, it's crazy. I got a couple former teammates in the NFL, like literally like spattered throughout the NFL. Samson Ebukam, Osaru Odigizua, Thomas Fletcher. The reason why Carolina drafted Thomas Fletcher is because he's going to be a guy who they're never, ever going to have to worry about a snap ever again. I wasn't in my notes to talk about that, but I had to mention that. Now, I don't think that Carolina is good enough to make a playoff run. They're still young. They're still growing. But they're not so bad they're going to be awful. They're also not so good they're going to go 13-4, win their division, nothing like that. Now, this is the best offensive line Sam Darnold has had during his entire NFL career. They have right tackle Taylor Moton. He signed a big extension. They added left guard Pat Elflein. I expect running back Christian McCaffrey to be back fully healthy, come right back to where he left off before he got hurt last year. He's going to have a great year. They have 3 solid receivers, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and rookie receiver Terrence Marshall Jr. Tight end Dan Arnold is a guy who's really, really underrated. Dan Arnold did some really good stuff in Arizona before he got to Carolina. He's a way better receiver than people realize. And I am really excited to see how offensive coordinator Joe Brady uses Dan Arnold to get him in really good matchups against people who cannot hang with him physically. He's not Darren Waller. He's not Kyle Pitts, but certainly he's a really good receiving tight end. And the Panthers defense is slowly but surely getting better. They drafted young corner, a stud, J.C. Horn. He's fantastic. They also brought in corner A.J. Boya. He's suspended until week 3. He could contribute after that. The other starting corner alongside J.C. Horn is Dante Jackson. He's entering year 4. He's young. He's talented. Young talent is a common theme here in Carolina, where you have defensive tackle Derek Brown, a former first-round pick. Defensive end Brian Burns. You have safety Jeremy Chin, a guy who was like literally second in defensive rookie of the year voting last year. And I'm also curious to see how young defensive end, Eter Gross-Matos develops. He was a rookie last year. He is not a starter yet, but I have hope he could be eventually. They brought in pass rusher Hassan Reddick. He's 26 years old. He's a former first-round pick. He actually played for Matt Rule at Temple in college, and he's on a one-year prove-it deal. I think he's making like $8.5 million. His goal here is to say, I'm going to be really good. I'm going to earn another really good long-term, big, massive contract. That's what Hassan Reddick is thinking. I'd love to see him do that. I want to see Hassan Reddick be great. I'm actually, like, if there was one team I had to pick in the NFL to be a fan of, it would be Carolina. I love their owner. I love their coach. Love their quarterback. I like the story. I like what they're doing, the way they're building their team. I'm excited about Carolina, and I want them to have a successful future. Now, the defense is so young that, like, they have a linebacker, Shaq Thompson, who feels like he's an aging veteran. He's only 27 years old. Like, people don't realize how much young, talented players are how many young, talented players are filled with this roster. Like, they're headed in a direction I'm really excited for. They're developing. And I think in time, probably starting next year, not this year, I have them going 7-9 this year. I think as these young guys develop and get better and they add a couple more pieces, wins are going to come. But the rebuild, in my opinion, for Carolina is going very, very well. And I'm not a Panthers fan. I'll never own a jersey, nothing like that. But man, I'm a huge fan of the way they're building their football team and the people they've brought in, their values. And I'm a big believer in the direction the Carolina Panthers are headed in.